All right, we are live on Webinar Jam. I believe I have everything going right. And we are live on Facebook. Okay, great. Hello. Oh my goodness, Netherlands is in the house. I would so like to meet all of you guys. It'd be nice if you formed a community over there because, oh my goodness, see another one from Netherlands. Oh, and another one. Are you guys together, Maurice, Jesse, and Daniel? Are you in a meeting space somewhere together, or are you all separate homes joining us live? All right. Oh, Luther and Miranda from Michigan. Hi, guys. Good to see you. You guys are all together meeting in the Netherlands? Let me see if I have that right. Hi, Facebook Live. I'm talking to everyone on Webinar Jam right now. Crystal's on. Hi, Crystal. Good to see you. I was actually thinking of you when I was preparing for this for today. Oh, you guys are in the same church. We are from the same church. Very good. Ada, the girls, New Jersey, you're in the house. It's so good. I got to tell you, we've been out of our routine here for about a month. It's been a month now since the hurricane hit us, actually, exactly today. And so, we were here 2 weeks displaced from our house where I live. Oh, I have that light right on me. Because we had no power. Some of my neighbors are still displaced because of flooding. Our neighborhood finally got the debris picked up this last week. There was just landscape everywhere. People put all their the things that were demolished or destroyed from the flooding out on the street. So school started. School was out for a few weeks. So now we're getting back into the routine of things. So it's so good. I got to tell you, routine is a good thing, but never be trapped in a tradition and never continue doing things for the sake of doing things. And that's something that I wanted to talk to you about today a little bit, because I actually have an announcement, and I forgot to do my slide here on Webinar Jam. Let me see if I can do this so I can do my announcement correct. Okay, those of you that receive our newsletter every month, we try to get one out every month, you'll see that we have changed the dates for the Agents of Change Symposium. Now, there is a method to my madness behind this, as we have changed it from January, the beginning of the year, to June, to the summertime, after school is ended, hopefully in most places, after the Memorial holiday. We're going to do it at the beginning of June. And there's a specific strategic reason for this. The only pro of keeping it where I had in January was the beginning of the year. We love starting a brand new year focused, right? We have our game plan. That's very important because, as we know, your time is from the Netherlands. Good to see you guys. And now in Amsterdam. Okay, and you guys are saying hello to one another. Good to see everybody. So it's very important we don't get trapped and stagnant in doing the same thing year after year after year. And why I'm saying this is, my announcement is, I am actually, I don't know what the right word is, discontinuing the annual Kingdom Training Seminar I have every summer. I've had it 7 years in a row. The last few years we have sold out. It has been very successful. But just because something is successful doesn't mean you continue until the end. So for instance, and I'll share something with you, last year when I was preparing for the Kingdom Training Seminar, I love doing these surveys because I want to see what you guys wanted to learn. I wanted to teach and share what you guys, the areas in your lives that you needed more understanding in, the topics of the kingdom you wanted more enlightenment on. And so in doing so the past few years, last year I realized this is the last one I'm going to do. And the reason is because as your vision expands, it expands and contracts as you continue through the years. And at the point we're at now, the Kingdom Training Seminar, as successful as it was, that was a time and a place for that, for everybody. And right now we have developed the resources, we've recorded them, but right now, the next stage of the vision, I want to focus my time and my energy on the true people that want to be agents of change. Those that see, that actually know who they are, understand the kingdom, know their purpose, know where they're going in life, and have a good idea of what that looks like. You may not be actually progressing in that yet in your vision. Maybe you just understood it this year or last year, and you're just starting to take the baby steps now in your vision. But my heart is to really focus my time and energy and get to know those that want to become true agents of change. So the season of actually teaching the kingdom in the context of a Rediscovering the Kingdom seminar is done. We've been training, teaching people here for 7 years very successfully. Again, we've been sold out. So I don't like to continue things just for the sake of continuing them. That season is done for me, for our team, for where we are in the vision. Because right now, I want to pour all my time and energy that I have because dealing with children, a few businesses, building a new home, trying to sell the old ones, we all have very busy lives. So in that, and looking at the future of the vision, and as we almost done with the curriculum now, we're getting it translated, and thank you for every single person that has been helping us with this curriculum. It's a 450-page, amazing curriculum. We're in the final edit stages now, and not only has it been Debbie and Brittany and me working on this tirelessly, but so many of you out there have taken little segments, polished them, edited them. We need this to be a very accurate course, and it needs to be in the language that's simple so it can be translated. And I think we have 6 languages. We're in the process of getting it translated now. So actually our focus next year is in the Latin America Spanish-speaking communities. And those are in other continents and other countries. So if there's a need for our team and me to travel, if I'm here busy focusing, getting ready for another Kingdom Training Seminar next summer, that negates that portion of the vision that is so important. So my heart is to train the trainers, to train those that want to be agents of change and or train other people in their nations respectively to become agents of change. So all of you know that I have submitted to Carlos Sese, who traveled with Dr. Myles Munroe the past 3 years of his life. He's a singer, he's a tenor, nationally renowned. And he has key people in the nations that are waiting for a program, waiting for a curriculum, waiting for this. So he's inviting them to our Agents of Change Symposium, and it works for people internationally in the summertime also to travel during that time. So there's a number of reasons, but primarily I want you guys to understand my heart. I am so excited because as this new stage of the vision unfolds, we're just finishing the curriculum. We'll have the school online, has already launched online, but now we have the curriculum. There's so many countries that don't have broadband internet, good access. It's spotted, it's limited. So we've seen that that's been an issue when it comes to the online school. So for the third world nations, for second and third world nations where they don't have the internet capabilities that the first world nations do, this is the answer to that. And I cannot begin to tell you how many people around the world, and I know you guys are watching because I get your emails, I see you, I hear you. You're like, when is this curriculum going to be done? Because some of you have instituted schools. For instance, in Pakistan, we received an email from somebody that saw me on YouTube, and they said, we have started our school. No, we've just gotten permission from the government, because in Pakistan where they are, there's either the Islam School of Islam. Well, for instance, it'd be like our private schools here in America, they're usually Christian schools. There is no such thing as a Christian school over in Pakistan. And it may even be for the Middle East. I'm not sure, really. But they said they spent 4 years traveling to Afghanistan, traveling to and meeting with other government officials. And they finally got permission to do the first ever Christian school in their nation. And then they reached out to us for a curriculum. So they have the school. It took 4 years. They sent us pictures with the government officials. And this is a major breakthrough they've been praying and fasting for. But they don't have a curriculum. Can you imagine the School of Influence curriculum? Not because it's mine or it's a School of Influence or anything, but it's a kingdom-based curriculum going into the Middle East to train the youth. So now you guys see the things that really fire me up. I can see beyond my eyes can look. So based on the vision, as you guys go through your individual visions, it progresses and it expands, but changes have to be made as you go through the vision process. So I wanted you to understand my heart and why I'm no longer doing the Kingdom Training seminars. They're so successful, but you can watch them online. It's like as if you're there in person. So we have years of them online that you can purchase at any time. You can stay at home, watch day and night. And there's actually criteria in order to come to our Agents of Change Symposium. And the criteria you can see on my website. I believe it's the last 2 Rediscovering the Kingdom training seminars. So you can watch those. And then it's watching the last Agent of Change Symposium we had, which was the very first one where we really truly launched the vision. It was truly like giving birth again. And it was just the biggest relief. And now we're actually, and it was in January, and now we're progressing through this stage of the vision. So you have to watch that. And there's a few books that you have to read as you participate in the School of Influence. So in order to participate in the Agents of Change Symposium next June, the other reason is you need time to be able to go through the criteria. Watch the last 2 Kingdom Training seminars. Watch our symposium that we did in January and go through the School of Influence. You have to have your purpose documented and your life vision documented. Those are the criteria. And then you join all of us that have done that. There's many of you. I know you guys are watching. And then you come together with all of us. Now listen, for real, space is for real limited. As those of you know that have come, I don't have the largest meeting room space. But we can fit 40, 45 people in. And with Carlos bringing in the international key leaders, and these are key leaders that do know government officials. They are key leaders that can influence change. So if you can imagine the right message of the kingdom of God and how to properly influence and knowing what you were born to do and all of that coming together and all of us coming together and doing workshops and learning and gleaming from each other. I've sent out a few invitations. Those of you that came, you know, Bimpy was a mentee of Dr. Myles as well. She is doing amazing things in Nigeria, and she's connected with the UN. Nigeria, she is making a difference there. That's huge, people, huge. So I have key people that are agents of change, that have the right mentality, that know what this looks like. We were trained by the best. We're all coming together. And so those of you that truly want to make a difference, everybody has a different capacity. You know, those of us with small kids, those of us, you know, at different seasons and stages in our lives, you know, you may feel, oh my gosh, I don't have time. I don't have the energy. Listen, there's a season. It may take you a year to go through the School of Influence, and that's okay. Don't rush through this stuff, because while you're going through the criteria it takes in order to come, you are actually in the process of becoming yourself. Don't rush that process. It is key. And I honestly believe that the key to becoming an agent of change is becoming yourself. You will naturally become an influencer for the kingdom of God with the right message, and you understand how to influence. There's a strategy. And of course, we know it's not to influence out of manipulation, but influence those who are ready and open for the truth, and how to naturally do it in your community. So I want you guys to know that Jesus chose 12 ordinary business people to change the world, and they did. And he left it in their hands. He only taught them for 3.5 years. And he says, now you guys do it. So it took me 7-8 years to get to this point, and I am not Jesus. I could continue forever, continue teaching, but it's at the point now we have to take responsibility for what we know and for who we are, because we will have to give an account, all of us, with what we did for our life, according to what we've done with the gifts, the potential. Matthew and I were driving. We haven't been to our new house that we're building in probably 2 months. And it's only half a mile away, but we've been so busy. They started putting the roof on. We were visiting it yesterday, and we were driving back to home. And in that 3/4 of a mile drive, maybe 1 kilometer, we passed 2 of our homes where we used to live. And they were very small. And it was fine for the stage we were at. We were just a newlywed couple. And then we had 1 baby. Now we've grown to 2. And now God's blessed us as we've been faithful, as we've grown. And we were driving through, and Matthew and he says, wow, Trista, I cannot believe we've come this far in this short period of time. And I said, isn't it amazing what happens when you actually tap into your potential? Because potential is dormant. It's time to tap into it and get down to business. I wrote my book 1 year ago, exactly, and it took me a while to find somebody that can edit with the right mentality, that's a professional. And so I'm excited because all of this stuff that I'm talking about is actually in this book. It lines up with the vision. It lines up with the momentum of this movement. And, we see agents of change all around us, and it's not necessarily change for good. We see it in the media. We see it in politics. I mean, everybody around the world is looking for their government for solutions, and yet nobody is coming up with any good solutions. And we are facing change on such a rapid pace, it's dizzying. Like, I have to really subdue the news in my home now because it's so much noise, and we're so inundated with change and crisis and the politics scene. And it's just so much noise. And it's time for us as ambassadors of the kingdom of God to rightfully take our place organically. It's nothing contrived. It's, your personality may not be doing what I'm doing, and you're not supposed to be. That's fine. Some people are out on the forefront, others are made for different areas. Your heart may be for the family unit. Your heart may be for whatever your heart is for, your passion, your purpose. It's all intertwined to you becoming yourself and therefore an influence of change. So it's a natural, organic process. Don't think you have to do like what Dr. Martin Luther King did and go out and take this. It may look like that for some of you, but that's not necessarily the case. So it's different for everybody. So I really want to encourage you, go through the process of becoming yourself, whatever that looks like. I have devised one because I went through the process. I'm still going through the process. That will never change. But when I went through the mentorship with Dr. Myles Munroe, I took what I learned. I added other components like the business components, other components that I learned, and I put it into this Agents of Change, a school of influence for you guys. So I'm trying to use technology to benefit all of us and go through that process. Watch the Rediscovering the Kingdom retreats the last few years. I'm sorry we're not going to have them. I've loved doing them. I've loved getting to know you guys. But right now my heart is really to take the time and energy and spend with the next stage of the vision and those agents of change that want to take this. You guys in Netherlands, you are for real agents of change. You need to bring this there. Not bring this there, but you need to get that spirit of a kingdom ambassador and expose it into your nation. Right now, I don't know if you guys know Victor in Sweden. He is doing this in a profound way, and it's very unique how he's doing this, bringing this into Latvia, which was a formerly communist country. So for instance, I'll use him as an example. He understands the mentality of those in former communist countries. He understands the mentality of the Northern Europeans. It's completely different than the mentality I'm aware of, or some of us in the Caribbean. So that's why it's important you get the kingdom mentality and then you bring it into your environment and your culture in a way that they understand it. New Jersey girls, New Jersey has a whole nother culture up there. You bring the kingdom mentality and culture to New Jersey. It's powerful. So all of us have our place. And that's why I also want to really put my heart out to you guys. Those of you that watch, you listen, you've come out of religion, you're tired of it. You're like, no more. That's why I know most of you, you send your tithes here because this is where you get fed. I'm not the only source of food. There's so many others also that teach the kingdom message. But I want to tell you, it's important that you put your little pin dot on the map because we get emails all the time of people in other countries, other places I've never even heard of, and they're looking for people like you just to connect with. You don't have to sit there and school them and handhold them and bottle feed them or anything, but they need connection. And there's so many of you that are true kingdom ambassadors. People, they're looking for you. Everybody can't come here and connect. They want to connect because I'm on the media and I'm out there in the forefront talking and teaching the kingdom of God. But so are you guys, wherever you are. And they need to find you. So please go on the map on my website, TristaSue.com. Find the map, put your pin. It doesn't mean you're signing up for, a kingdom army or, because there isn't one, it's the angels. Or, I don't know. It's for people to connect with you as they're discovering the kingdom. And every day, more people are discovering the message of the kingdom. And they've been seeking and searching their whole life, and they get so excited. And they're like, who can I find is there any other people like this where I am? And I said, yes, go look on the map. So please, you guys, I ask you, please put your information on the map if you can, even if it's just an email address, no personal information or anything. But people are looking to connect with other kingdom-minded individuals. So, this is something that is so important. It will kind of be like a kingdom database. You guys can connect with each other as people reach out to us. So, okay, I hope you guys hear my heart. You understand why I'm no longer doing the kingdom training seminars, but it's a new season. The vision is continuing and it goes into another stage. So don't be afraid of letting go of things that you've held on so tightly to. Don't be afraid of change. Change is a good thing. You even see this on primetime TV. You see popular TV shows leaving in their prime, right? They leave on their 10th season in the prime. So even the industry has understood these things. So listen, don't be stuck in a tradition. It's okay to make change, even if you've been successful in it. Don't get pigeonholed into something. I've been doing it this way. It's been working. Be open-minded. There's other ways. As you expand into your vision, keep your eyes wide open like a child. Okay, God, what's next? What's the next stage of the vision? I am very excited about this. I knew last year's training seminar, keynote training seminar was the last one, but I didn't know why. I just knew deep in my spirit that it would be. So now I'm announcing it. So please, those of you that can join us, come to the Agents of Change Symposium. You have to go through the proper protocol in order to register because we want people who know who they are and know where they're going. And then we come together. So we won't be teaching the ABCs anymore. Now we're going into the next level. It's like graduating from high school going into college. So I hope that understands. Good. You guys are getting me. I see you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Good seeing everybody. Yes, don't be afraid of change. Okay, you guys are getting me. You're getting me. I'm glad. All right, 24 minutes in. Let's get to the session. We are continuing part 1 of Kingdom Keys of Relationships. I did this in the beginning of August. I was gone a few weeks vacation. It's very important. Listen, I cannot even tell you the health benefits my husband experienced by going away for 2 weeks. Mentally, physically, we were in the mountains. He was breathing. It cleared his head. He lost some weight. He feels good. So take time to rest, regroup, get it together, and then go on. It's very important. So there's a number of benefits that can come out of retreating, getting your grip, your grounding, and going forward again. So to recap real quick, the last webinar we did, the official one for this relationships one, We showed a picture of a wedding cake. And a lot of us, when we get married or while we're single now, we say, okay, we have this picture of what marriage looks like. We all have a picture in our head. So we get married and then we demand that picture. But that photograph that's in your head, and all of us have a different one, it's completely different than the reality of what marriage really truly is. Marriage is complicated. It is a process. I think I saw Rick Kendall was on here. I have so much respect for him because he has gone through the ebbs and flows of marriage and they are still standing stronger than ever. So if I ever need marriage advice, go to somebody that's been through it and is still standing strong and is stronger than ever. So I've learned a lot from them as they've spoke in our community regarding that. And so they could even tell you, they could share more than me right now because they've gone through the hard situation, the hard times of marriage. But it is definitely a process. So if you want that photograph in your head or close to that photograph in your head, you have to do two things. You have to have the ingredients and follow the recipe. That's the key. You have to know some things. It's not just about love and tiptoeing through the tulips. It is challenging living with another human. I don't care who that human is. It may be your sister. It may be an aunt. It may be your grandmother. It doesn't matter who it is. It's challenging living with anybody. So in order to have a marriage that can go through the tough times, you have to know some things. You have to have some knowledge. You have to have wisdom and practical understanding of it so you can apply it. It's not just about love. Love is not enough, but it is a key ingredient. And we're going to get into the specifics of love because there's different types of love too. So it's important to decipher what kind of love, say you're engaged to somebody, what kind of love they have for you. But we'll get into that. I'm going to share this with you now, those of you on webinar. And the result of this is a long process. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, 10 years in, now is the time I'm only feeling comfortable to start sharing and teaching about marriage. Because 4 or 5 years in, what do you know? You're just getting started. So now, 10 years in, I'm starting to feel I actually can contribute something to teaching this, but I still don't know it all. But it is a long process. And trust me, the more you know before you make that commitment, the better off you are, and you can bypass a lot of mistakes. And fortunately for me, I did know enough to be able to make the right decision. And I thank God every day. Listen, Matthew's not perfect. I am not perfect. The right one for me. Now, God did not bring him to me. So don't sit around and think that, oh, somebody from Japan. Hi, Japan. I think it's 12:30 in the morning there. Like, you're exactly half day ahead of us. Nice to see you. Oh, my grandkids are sad. I'm sorry, Karen. We'll be talking to you about that. I know. We thought of you when we made that decision. Anyway, but I thank God that at least there are certain criteria that I was looking for in a relationship were met, like the value systems. You better know your value systems of somebody if you're even considering marrying them. That's a big decision. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was in a different area concerning value systems, but her and her husband are not on the same page at all. She was crying to me about it, and it wasn't even why we were there having this conversation. So the value systems are so important. But if you want the marriage process, the cake that you see, you have to go through the process. You have to get understanding, and you both need to get understanding. You both need to know some things. So as I'm learning, I'm constantly trying to better myself as a wife. I have a long way to go. I have a lot of work. I'm still a little stubborn on things. I'm still independent as Trista, which is a good thing because being single is a good thing. your marriage is only as good as the two single people coming together. So I don't try to change Matthew, and Matthew doesn't try to change me, but yet I do try to make changes so that I can, please him. And he does the same, it reciprocates. And we're learning this. It's a process. But all of us are results of relationships, one way or another. Single people cannot find a suitable mate. Let me tell you something. I am sorry if you're single. I'm not sorry that you're single. I am sorry because it seems like the fish pool is not good. I was shocked at age 33 when I met Matthew that I actually found somebody that I would consider married. I was not expecting to find it all. I'm like, I'm in Naples. It's a retirement community. Where am I going to find somebody my age with a value system? The value systems of the next generation are poor. And of course, I don't want to speak for everybody. There are so many millions of young people that do have, good value systems, but it's tough. And those of us that are married are still trying to figure out what to do. So we're all products of relationships. Divorced people are still wondering, should I even give it another shot again? And even the widowers are pondering, can I live with somebody else after I've lived with someone my whole life? So there's a struggle in it for everybody. Relationships are a process, and relationships are very important. And the two most important decisions we make in our life has to do with relationships. Salvation, entering the kingdom of God, and our relationship with God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ, and relationships in choosing our spouse, who we're going to spend the rest of our life with, because that is a choice that God gave you. He doesn't override your will. Growing up in religion, I thought God had the perfect person created just for Trista, and he would be waiting there until I found him and we came across each other's path, and he was just custom made for me and I was custom made for him. And, I don't know where we get this idea from, but God gives us a choice. You have a choice. He doesn't override free will. We're going to get into that a little bit more. So all of us, no matter what position in a relationship you're in, whether you're single, married, divorced, or a widow, we all need to learn the secrets of understanding the keys in kingdom relationships. So basically, I have 30 minutes. I think I can do this. Based on biblical chronological time, man has been on the earth almost 7,000 years. Okay, all of you guys are in this. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. So since then, civilization in 7,000 years hasn't produced anything better than God's model. So in the human gene, deep down inside of our DNA, there's a divine understanding that we know we cannot live like animals. Native tribes, when you find them in the bush, they demonstrate this. So in the meantime, humans have become confused and been changing partners like the animal kingdom. I don't know a better way to put it. But yet we cannot improve on God's original idea, the covenant commitment. That is key. But right now, people are afraid of commitment. That's a fear. And I'll be honest with you. I was afraid of commitment. I said, listen, marriage is a big deal. Once I say yes, that's it. I'm not going to go through what I saw my parents and so many of you have experienced. And I said, so it was such a big deal, it scared me. So I don't know if you guys can relate to this or not. I'm sure you can. But I was afraid. I was afraid to get married. And it took somebody pointing that out to me while I was dating Matthew. Because I got to the point I was so content being single. I had my motorcycle, I had my dog, and I said, I am good. What do I need a man for? But then God sent somebody in my life and said, Trista, you have a fear of getting married. And I said, actually I do. And they prayed for me and I overcame that fear. And I said, okay, I can commit. I wasn't afraid of, it was just such a big decision. I was just hesitant because I wanted to make sure it was the right one for me. Because let me tell you, I've seen people in marriages and it's like they're locked into a prison. And I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in a prison. I'm just being very honest with you guys. Okay, good. Crystal can relate. Oh, Benita can relate. Okay, good. I have the right audience. You guys can relate. Some of you, yes, about common values. You understand. So the greatest source of joy and anguish at the same time are relationships. Love is both bitter, it's sweet, it's happiness, it's hurt, it's pain and pleasure. So what are we supposed to do? Because we see so many homes that have failed. So therefore what we've seen, and we've seen this even, in the past decade or two, it's increased. We've seen alternate living conditions. People are now choosing to cohabitate. They're choosing to do a trial marriage. Well, let's live together to make sure it works out. They are having intimacy without commitment. We're seeing movies about this. It's just blatantly out there. They'll say, I'll have sex with you, but you don't want anything from me. I won't commit. I can do what I want. So, honestly, these situations are inherently stressful in our body. Because if you are giving your time and your energy and your body and your mentality and your emotions over to another person without a commitment, you don't know if they're going to be there the next day or not. You don't know what to expect. Anything could set off a domino effect in a relationship, and then it's done. And now you look back and you're 5 years, poof, gone. And that was my biggest thing also. I would, I'd date somebody for 2 or 3 years. I'm like, okay, oh my gosh, that was a waste of 2 or 3 years of my life. Not completely, but kind of, yes, it was. So when I was in my 30s, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to waste my time dating the wrong people. Okay, that's a whole other story. So those of you that are single, enjoy your singleness and become the best single that you can be so that when you meet somebody else, you're already a complete person and you're not sucking the life out of them trying to get your needs met. Nobody wants to be with somebody like that at all. So now we are living in times where we don't even appreciate the marriage covenant. It's so blatant. I mean, you can run to Las Vegas and you get married in a chapel, and there's now divorce places popping up, out there. So people aren't even taking it that seriously, and it is serious. So, I asked the question, if we do away with the traditional marriage, what do we replace it with? How do you raise children in an environment where they feel safe and secure, where they get their needs from the mom and the dad? I look at my children, they need things from both the mom and the dad. So that's a whole nother story. Marriage gives you security, commitment, love, and loyalty. But however, marriage is designed to meet the needs of the human spirit because everybody needs to feel loved. They feel they need commitment and security in their lives. Everybody deep down inside needs to feel they're significant to somebody else. We all have that need. And that's why unfaithfulness is so devastating, because you're telling that person that you found someone more important than them, and it destroys you. And that's the one thing I didn't want to experience, that I saw most of the women in our family go through. My aunts, my grandma, my mom. And I was like, oh my gosh, it just devastates them. How do you get through that? And I didn't want to go through that. So I was trying to protect myself from experiencing what I witnessed so many people in my family witness. And I know most of you have experienced or been exposed to somebody somewhere. You've gone through it. So you know what I'm talking about. Do I take that chance again? Do I take that chance of getting hurt? So in essence, once you are married, nobody should compete with your spouse, including your parents. And honestly, this is a scenario my husband and I have gone through with his parents. And that's been probably the only issue that we've encountered in our marriage. And it was primarily the first 7-8 years of our marriage. And it hasn't been an issue for the past year or two. And it was, primarily his mother. And I said to him last week, I said, Matthew, it seems your mother isn't so needy of you. And it was kind of in a way where he would feel obligated to meet her needs. And, I'm talking in a very healthy, somewhat healthy way. but it was kind of very odd. And I said to him last week, I said, Matthew, it seems things are so much better with us because they don't seem to be putting as much pressure on you anymore. They need you and you feel obligated and to do all this stuff with them and all this stuff. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, Trista, now she has Maverick. And now Maverick fulfills her. And I go, oh, well, that explains a lot. Maverick's 5. He spends the night on every Friday night, and she gets to do her nurturing motherly thing and feels a part of the family and this and that, whatever it is psychologically. I'm not sure about all that, but that's what's going on. And I said, well, no wonder we're doing so much better. Now she's not putting that pressure on you. So nobody should compete with your spouse for your attention, or to make them feel that they're more important than you. And that even includes your mother or your father. Once you leave, you cleave. And that's it. You are producing a third family. You're not combining 2 families together. You're producing a third family now. And listen, when I heard Dr. Myles teach that was the best news. And I said, I went to run into Matthew. I said, you realize we're not combining 2 families. We're producing our own third unit. But yes, of course, we include them, but I want you to understand that. And so that's been the biggest hurdle we've had, and we've come through that, and we're still going through that. But these are very important components when it comes to a marriage. So how do you build a successful relationship? The key to all relationships is your intrapersonal relationship. Getting along with yourself is more important than getting along with others. Because the more you love yourself, according to the Bible, then the more you will love others. You can only love others to the degree you love yourself. And of course, those of you that watched my last webinar, we really went into depths with that. So when you give yourself to someone else, you're giving them something of value. So when you're dating somebody, say for instance, and you know who you are, you love yourself, you value yourself, you know your self-worth, and you respect yourself, then you're giving them something of value. And hopefully it will be reciprocated also. And let me tell you something, whatever you are looking for, you will find. So if you are just looking for anything will do, then you will find that. But if you're looking for somebody that has self-worth, that knows where they're going, then you bring that to the table as well. So don't lose heart, those of you that are single. Listen, singleness is amazing, but it's tough at times. I know I was single from, if you start at 18 until I was 33 when I met Matthew. I dated some losers. I had to get restraining orders. Well, one real one, but the other ones I almost got, not all of them, but some. I had to almost get some. I mean, it's just so much drama. And it's been the nicest thing marrying somebody that didn't bring drama to the table. It's like the biggest relief ever. Okay, now I'm kind of getting into personal stuff. So the source of all relationships is the lack of self-love. Because I know who I am and I bring some value to the table, I allow Matthew, I don't suck the energy out of him and I'm not needy of him in an unhealthy way. Let me state it that way. And I allow him to be a complete person. And then I'm a complete person. And when you have 2 complete people come together, then you create a beautiful life together. So these are the key components. But most of us go through life not knowing who we are, not loving ourselves, not respecting ourselves, not knowing our own value and self-worth. So the foundation of loving others is actually loving yourself. So love is a law. Those of you that came to our Kingdom Retreat, you know how important love and law is. Love is law. So God says, or Jesus told us the greatest commandments. And they asked for 1 and he gave 2. He said, love God with all your heart. That means explore God, swim with God, understand him, study him. So that is our job, to do that with God. And then love your neighbors to the degree you love yourself. So you have to love yourself first, and then you can love others. That includes your spouse, your family members, your siblings. You know, we all have relationship issues that we deal with. but love is a choice. So this is the greatest commandment, is to love God, then love others to the same degree you love yourself. You cannot get away from that. That is the foundational law of the kingdom of God, is love. It's a law. You don't do it when you feel like it. Yes, thank you, Crystal. And proof of love for God is obeying him. That's key. So if you love, then you obey. And obedience is loving others and loving yourself. So you are to be your own sunshine. So then when you meet another sunshine, then you create a constellation. Now, if things don't work out and you're dating them and they go away, then your light doesn't go away. You have your own light. You're a full, complete person yourself. I don't think it's healthy to rely on others to meet your needs and to make you complete. Yes, we meet our needs in a marriage context, but not to complete you. Then what happens if you get a divorce or the person leaves you, you're separated, or they die, then are you incomplete now? So it's so important you know who you are before you make a commitment, get into marriage. So that is why it's important to you to be truly, honestly single and whole before you ever get married. It's the best gift you can give yourself and your spouse. So singleness is the most important state of the human life. Don't rush through that process. God did not start the human race with a couple. He started with one guy, an individual. And all the instructions were given to him. Adam didn't even know he needed anyone. He was so fulfilled. He was so busy. He was busy dominating. He was busy naming the animals. He was busy keeping the garden cultivated and in order. Let them meet you dominating. You're fulfilled. Then you're not desperate looking. Oh, I'm so alone. I'm lonely. Listen, you can still be alone in a marriage. I know some of you watching know exactly what I'm talking about. You will always, that's why I feel bad for some of you. It's hard to find a good spouse. And the Bible says, he who findeth a wife finds a good thing. So let the men find. Women, don't go rushing, don't go looking, don't be desperate, don't appear desperate. Let them find you dominating women. Be a woman, a true woman of God that knows who she is. She doesn't need to dress a certain way for attention. She's already knows her value. Other people should not look at you. You should not rely on other people to give you value. God gives you value. You are made in his image. You just have to understand who you are. Now, some of us have gone through, very disheartening seasons in our lives where we were devalued or we went through tragedy. I mean, everybody has a different story. But now, if you're in the kingdom, you understand your identity. And that's also course 1 of School of Influence, is your identity. That is one of the biggest problems that we face, is we don't know who we are. So we rely on others for our identity. And that's very volatile place to be. That can get you in a lot of trouble. Okay, you ladies like that. Let them meet you dominating. Yes, indeed. So don't settle. Listen, guys, don't settle. If you want a diamond, you got to dig deep for diamonds. They're there. They're out there. But rock is cheap. They're everywhere. They're on the top. They're easy to find. You can go to any bar and find a desperate man or a desperate woman. But we don't do that. The diamonds are found in the rock. So in the meantime, you be polishing your diamond, Hopefully they're polishing their diamond and you're busy dominating. That's the key. So let's look at 1 Corinthians 7:8. I know all of us, we know these scriptures. He says, I say therefore to the unmarried and the widows, it is good for them if they abide, even as I, single. But if they cannot, let them marry, for it's better to marry than to burn, meaning fall into lust and the passion. And so in other words, many people we meet can reduce their life to sex. That's what our culture pretty much has come down to. You can reduce your marriage to chemicals. So if you get married, he says, listen, if you're going to burn with passion, it's going to cause you to sin, then get married. But if you get married because you want to have sex, your marriage is doomed already. So if your love is based on sex, and as you age, your sex drive declines, then you're in trouble. So we cannot reduce our lives to chemicals. Unfortunately, especially in Western civilization, our culture emphasizes that. The movies, the TV, the scandals, it's everywhere. So do not reduce your life to a chemical. The next scripture. Because of the present crisis, I think it is good for a man to remain as he is. If you're pledged to a woman, married, do not seek to be released. But if you're free from such a commitment, do not go looking for a wife. So in other words, he's saying, be content in the season you're in. And that was what I strived for when I was single. Now listen, I know it's still hard when you're single. I understand that. It's bittersweet. But get through that season if you want to be married. Marriage is not for anybody. But Paul says here, but if you marry, you have not sinned. And if a virgin marries, then they have not sinned. But those who marry will have many troubles in this life. So marriage can give you pleasure and pain. Stop reading Cinderella. Stop watching the fantasy movies that Disney puts out. Oh my goodness. We have this idea that marriage will fix things. No, Paul was very clear. You will have many troubles. So let me give you the 12 advantages, those of you that are single, the 12 advantages of being single. And this is true. You manage your own time. You can come and go as you please. It's a beautiful thing. Enjoy it in the season you're in. Trust me when I say that, because right now mine's gone. With 2 little kids, it's gone. Now, when they get into school and will be a school age, that season will bring good change. But right now, the season I'm in, I am not the manager of my own time. The little time I can, I manage that, but it's not like it used to be when I was single. Boy, those were good days. But these are great days too. Number 2, you manage your own priorities. Listen, you guys can do whatever you want, when you want, how you want to do it. Number 3, you can manage your friendships. When you're married, the friends of your spouse become your friends. You go to dinner, you do these things. Sometimes you may not like them. To the degree that you want to hang out with them all the time. Number 4, you can manage your own space. Now, this is key. You manage your space, your work environment, your home environment. You manage these things. Number 5, you can manage your own relationships. Number 6, you can manage your life's purpose. If you want to go back to school, if you want to have 3 jobs so you can pay for school and get more experience in your life work or whatever it is, you can manage and do what you want to do. If you want to go do an internship somewhere, but listen, once you're married and you start having kids, that is more challenging, but it is possible. Number 7, you manage your own intellectual development. You can, like I said, go back to school. You have a lot more time to do things. Yes. Number 8, manage your own body. You can work out. Right now, if I want to work out, I have to pay somebody to be with my kids so I can work out. It's getting old, but it is what it is, and it's for a season. You can fast when you want to fast. When you're married, the Bible says you refrain from sex also, and you have to get permission from your spouse if you go on a fast. And you know that we as a community do that at the beginning of every year. Number 9, you can manage your own life's plans. You can actually plan according to do whatever you want to do, whatever it is. Number 10, you can manage your own values. That's a big one. Big, 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 big. Know the value system of the person you're dating. That's huge. That's a big one. I cannot even emphasize. And, honestly, that wasn't something that I put a lot of thought into when it came to how I was going to raise my children. Or, you come down to medical issues like vaccination, some very controversial things that that go on, and what kind of school you want to put them in, a public or a religious school, these kind of things. Like, you may have your idea and what you did, and you want to do that with your kids. When you marry somebody, now you have to find a middle ground here. Now you have to compromise. So we're actually working through those decisions also. Number 11, manage your spiritual life. Matthew used to hate when I'd be home watching Dr. Myles, or he'd be home and he'd want me to sit and watch TV with him. That's what he wanted me to do. And I'd be watching Dr. Myles on YouTube. So I had to reposition my time when I do that. Now I can't do it. So that's one thing that I've learned, and I saw that through my parents, is when my husband is home, 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, it's our family time until the kids go to bed, and then it's our time. But during the day, I do everything I can that I can't do when, you have a full house. You guys with families know exactly what I'm talking about. And number 12, you can manage your own financial investments. You can spend your money on what you want to spend on. And of course, we don't go out and go on shopping sprees and be crazy, but I'm a frugal person as it is, organically, so I don't spend a lot of money. But anyway, I think it's fun shopping for my kids' clothes anyway. I'm having so much fun with that. So that's what I spend a little bit of money on. Okay, so we went through the 12 advantages of being single. You can do what you want, when you want, how you want, pretty much, in a nutshell. So you are not ready to live with anyone else until you can live with yourself. And I personally know some people that cannot be alone. They cannot be alone in the house. They have to have the TV on or music on, or they have to be out amongst other people. They have to be in a restaurant. They have to be in the middle of people. But there's something in spending time with yourself. That's a sign of self-love, that you love yourself and you're okay with your own thoughts and you're okay with being you. There's times I go to, like for lunch, sometimes I'll go to a restaurant and I just go by myself. I love my time. I don't get a lot of me time, but when I do, it's amazing. But some people can't even go shopping by themselves. They have to take an entourage with them. And do you like this? No, I don't know. I mean, why do we need people's opinions on, if you like it, then get it? I don't necessarily dress for my husband either. And I remember my mom was oppressed in that manner and was told what to wear, not to wear. And I like to look good what I like, but if my husband, says, I don't really like that. Like, for instance, I used to wear a lot of long dresses until I had Shiloh. I love my long dresses. And he said, oh, Trista, I don't really like you wear all those long dresses. I like them. And he just made that comment one day in passing, and it didn't mean much to me because I love my long dresses. I'm not going to, now if he says, oh, Trista, that color doesn't really look good on you, and, I'll be like, yeah, you're right. It makes me really pale and this and that. Then, yeah, I take his opinion in consideration. Sometimes I'll say, oh, I bought this. Does this look right? And I'll say, no, yeah. But, there's times where I like things that he doesn't like, and it is what it is. But I like a certain look, and I don't dress for other people's approval or opinion. All right, on to another thing. Don't go around looking for others to make you feel satisfied or to feel good about yourself. Now, marriage is not a solution, nor is it the answer to being alone. Marriage does not solve loneliness, people. It manifests it. Tweet that, blog that, post that on Facebook. Marriage does not solve loneliness. It can manifest it. If you have two people who are miserable and have no self-love for each other, and they're nagging, and nothing makes them happy, everything they do, they can't stand each other, that's a lonely household. It's a miserable household also. And it can actually manifest it. So it is possible to be single and not alone. It is possible. And there are many married people that are lonelier than you that are single. They are trapped in a prison. So getting married doesn't solve it. It can create it. If you don't already know who you are and love yourself, and then find somebody else of another self-worth that you have of yourself also. So marriage is not an institution that was created to solve loneliness. The Lord God said, it is not good for this man to be alone, meaning all in one. So here's what happens. And I'm going to finalize. I have 5 more slides. I'm going to give me 5 minutes. God said he didn't say that Adam is lonely. He says it's not good for him to be the only one of his kind, of his species. So God made a woman and brought her to the man. Now, if you study that word brought in the Hebrew language, it means to display. So God made Eve out of Adam and then displayed her in front of him. And then Adam declared, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and for this cause shall a man leave, or shall she leave her mother and father and cleave, and here we go. I will call her woman because she came out of me. So God never gave Adam a wife. He created another human. And Adam made her his wife. They had a family. So human beings were created to solve the loneliness problem. Other human beings. So that's why we have one another. We have our community. We have our good friends. We have our siblings. Sometimes your best friend may be your grandma. That was who I was closest to growing up. So there are a whole lot of human beings parading around you. Then you decide which one will be bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh, that you choose to live with for the rest of your life. God will never choose your mate for you. Because then you would come up with an excuse, God, you gave me this woman. No, you chose. So he only gives you prospects. And then you decide. So you can never blame God for your misery because he will never violate your will. So you need to study people for a long time to understand who they are. It can take years and you still don't even know 10% of who they are. And most people, if they're all in love with you, won't tell you the truth. They won't show you the ugly side of things, especially if they love you. So test them. I tested Matthew. I wanted to see what he was made of. I thought he was a little bit too much Fifth Avenue here in Naples because I was used to more, my father and all the men that I've been around are more men that did heavy labor. My dad's a water well driller. Matthew worked in an office. So I wanted to see if he had what it took when the rubber hits the road, like a manly man kind of man, right? So I brought him to Haiti, and that was one of my tests. And he didn't complain. He didn't grumble about the third world conditions. And I said, okay, he's not like, a spoiled guy here on Fifth Avenue. And I tested him, and I tested to see how he would do in a third world condition. So marriage is the most important decision. We do not take it lightly. Test them. It's okay. See what they're made of before you make a commitment. Because once afterwards, then it's too late. So married people, if you're married, leave the single people alone. Leave them alone. Don't say, oh, you're still single? You haven't found anyone yet? Well, then you should say, oh, how are you doing? Why are you depressed all the time? So the greatest danger of love is when we simplify the I love yous. Now, stay with me one more minute. I'm going to wrap it up. We all know there are 4 different types of loves. We are in danger when we simplify love. We have the phileo love, the eros, erotic love, the fleshly love. We have ergo, which is the friendship, brotherly love, friendship love. Phileo is like with your siblings. Ergo is friendship, and agape, the godly love. Most men, ladies, when they say I love you, they are saying I eros you, I erotic you, I erotic love. I want to have pleasure with you. That's what they're saying. So there's different kinds of love. So find out which one they're made of. Don't be confused. And especially in our culture. See, that's one of the issues we have with our English language. There's only one word for love. But in the Greek, there's the 4. So understand which love are they talking about. So ladies, they say I love you. That doesn't mean you have to sleep with them. That doesn't mean that you should. You can buy eros love on the streets. That's everywhere. It's a lust. It's I want to pleasure myself with you. Lust, eros. But The friendship love, the phileo love, sometimes people can't handle this either. They're so desperate, for a mate that, if a guy asks them to go out for coffee, they can't even handle that. They bring their diary with them and their wedding plans. So love is complicated, guys. We are so mixed up. Which love do you mean? You want to hang out? You want to be friends? What does that mean? The only love that is permanent is agape love. It is eternal. Love is not emotions. Agape love is a love of a choice of the will. It's an act of the will. Love is a choice. It is not an emotion. Get this right. You choose to love. That's why God says you can love your enemies. You choose to love them. It is a choice. So if you get married, you will always meet someone better than your spouse. You will meet better looking people than your spouse. You'll meet better educated with their PhD, their leadership titles. You'll meet a more beautiful woman than your wife. You'll meet a richer man than your husband. You'll see a more handsome guy than your husband. And he likes you. What are you gonna do? This will happen. Once we get married, it doesn't mean people disappear. There's more handsome men than my husband. There's more beautiful women that he sees than me. So what are you going to do when you see that? And sometimes women aren't even more beautiful than you. They're just more sexually available. And they'll say, how's your woman pleasing you? You got a choice to make. Love is a choice. It's not an emotion. You chose this mate. They don't disappear after you get married. Okay, this is getting serious. You guys are getting quiet on me. Hi, Deja, I see you. You guys are getting quiet on me. So keep your choice. The only thing that keeps you married is a decision. That's it. You decide, this is who I'm committed to the rest of my life. This ring doesn't protect you. Actually, it attracts people for one reason or another. A man may approach you. You're on the job. Is your husband treating you right? Don't even entertain that question. It is off limits. When a woman asks you, you may be out at the coffee shop. You may be out in the hardware store, man. How's that? You're at Home Depot. Is your wife pleasing you? What are you going to do? What are you going to say? Yes, the opportunities are going to be there. They do not go away. Nowadays, it's even more, it's so easy to text and, it's so easy to connect with people nowadays. I think they have apps they've developed for people who want to cheat that are married. So it's even more accessible now. What are you going to do when you see someone more beautiful than your wife or more sexually available than your wife? What is your response? Love is a response to understanding the value of a thing. I value my husband. I value my choice and my commitment. I made a decision. This is who I chose. I could have chose other men. I had other men that gave me marriage proposals. But I chose Matthew, and that is my choice for life. So my love and my response is that of what I value, what value I give to him and myself, my own self-value and my own self-worth. So if the person you are in a relationship is valuable to you, you will not compromise. And if they sell you for another person's pleasure, then they have reduced your value. That is why unfaithfulness is so hard. But true love, agape love, is a decision. You will have to run away from those other thoughts and feelings. When that guy in the grocery store gives you a double look, and he's fine, debonair, whatever you're looking for, what are you going to do? Run. It's a decision you make. Love is a force, but it is generated by a decision. Love is a choice. Marriage is a choice. I decide every day my husband is my husband. And this is the one I chose and the one I married. And I will not devalue him or me in that regards. Now, here's some words of advice to some of you men. Okay, you guys getting this? Very good. You guys are getting it. No questions? Okay. Do what Xavier does. Wear shades. Oh, that's so funny. Xavier's our DJ, you guys know. He wears shades. Oh my goodness. That may attract the women though, Deja. I don't know. They like that. So there is always someone better than your spouse, but it's the one you chose. Now, you men, the older you get, the more resources you accumulate, perhaps your bank account gets larger, you don't necessarily become more attractive, but you do attract the vagabonds. So watch out when you get that bonus or you get promoted and now you're the big shot. Watch out. Ladies, watch out for that old boyfriend that's coming around. Watch out. He texts you or Facebook inboxes you. Watch out, ladies. All you have is your decision. Marriage is not magic. It's a choice. It's a decision. And there is always somebody better out there. But this is the one you chose. So you stick with that. We've become victims in our society like of feelings. Like we feel we found someone better. Oh, I feel that eros love. Sometimes that's an erotic love you feel. It's just chemicals. You feel, maybe you're in close proximity with a work, what do they call it, when you're in a working environment, a coworker. And you start developing, and winking and smiling and, they bring you coffee and this and that. Boy, you better run, get transferred, different company. Don't mess with that. Don't play with that. You are playing with fire. We act like, I got to tell you, I saw this morning on the Today Show, they put a couple up and the husband had committed 4 affairs and the wife just found out about it. And they've been going through counseling. And she decided to stay for the sake of their children and their marriage, and she truly loved him. But it was hard. She didn't trust them. They went through tough times. And they asked the man, why did you cheat on your wife? What were those feelings you felt? And he says, well, I wasn't feeling appreciated. I wasn't feeling valued. And whatever, excuse he came up with, but your feelings don't override your decision that you make when you choose your spouse. Love is an act of the will. So Lord have mercy. You stick with your decision. You made a choice. And decide right now if you already married and if you're not married before you get married. Have a talk with your spouse. There's one word that will never enter a relationship, and that's divorce. You can throw books. You can throw pots and pans. You can throw a fit. But you will figure it out. Make that decision now. Get that out in the open. This is one topic that will never come up. Don't throw that word around lightly, ever. So make that decision, whether you're married or not. Bring that to the forefront. Okay, last slide. Here we go. You guys ready? I'm 15 minutes over. I'm sorry. You have a right to feel what you feel. When you feel betrayed, when you've been hurt, when you've been abused by your spouse, perhaps you've been in a relationship in the past that really hurt you, but you can decide the higher law. Love is law. Love is a debt you owe to your fellow man, to your spouse, to your siblings, to your in-laws, to your ex-laws, to your grandparents, whoever. And that's what the Bible says. Owe no man nothing except we love them. Love is law. Never forget that. Tweet that. Facebook that. Love is law. Those are the 2 most important things to God. Love and law. But we've made love so simple, and that if we don't feel good, we don't have those feelings, or I fell out of love, then we quit. That's not how it works. Love is complicated. It is a process, but decide to get through it. You made a decision. And Jesus did the same thing for us. While we were yet sinners, he paid a price for us. So I'm going to end there. I didn't see any questions. Love is law. Yes, love is law. You guys got it. Love is law. Say it 5 times. Love is law. Love is law. You choose to love. Agape is a choice, and you choose to love. All right, guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you. It was those announcements that put me over. Thank you, guys. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Great seeing everybody. I see Linda Jo's on now. Hey, guys. Albertina, hello. Good seeing you guys. Everybody. All right. Yeah, celibacy is not magic either. It's definitely a choice. Good job, Bonita. That was good. Yes, you guys got this. All right, guys. I'll see you in a few weeks. Remember, love is law, and it's a choice and it's a decision, and you have what it takes to make that choice and stick by it. All right, bye guys. See you.